If you're outside Canada, I would ask you to look elsewhere. I would not even ask you to consider Canada at this point of time.
So, Kubeir, one of the sort of constituents that I, hear from are people outside of Canada. And I still feel like they think of Canada and they think express entry, right? And I'm sure you see some of that. And if you were to sort of be talking to them, how would you guide them to be approaching immigration in this day and age?
If you're outside Canada, I would ask you to look elsewhere. I,
Really?
I would not even ask you to consider Canada at this point of time. It's a mixed bag. Part
Mhm.
of it is that Canada's selection policy is outdated.
Uh-huh.
Express entry is outdated. So this was during conservatives, Kenny and Harper time. Today's time have gone ahead leaps and bounds में मतलब AI को लेकर या anything that comes into play here.
Uh-huh.
The way the whole selection was happening at that time versus how things have changed now have changed dramatically. The people who were interested in coming to Canada at that point of time was a very small number. I mean, international students have been coming for a very long time. 2010, 2012, people would come. You would complete your studies. You knew for a fact if you complete your studies, you're going to become a permanent resident. It was even a second thought. So if you are a young person, good English, master's degree, you're pretty much through with 3 years of work experience. Your scores are going to be phenomenally high. That was the whole understanding. But since then, things have changed drastically. Uh,
Mhm.
the the advent of times when international students flooded into Canada, right? The agents and ghost consultants and all these education agents who saw Canada as that the goose that's laying the golden egg. That the education institutes over here, the colleges, they went out aggressively for recruitment and started offering hefty commissions.
Yep.
And suddenly, over the period of 2018, 2019, 2020, these 3 years primarily, actually 1 year earlier, 2017 as well. This is when suddenly you could see big, huge hoardings in Punjab, in Gujarat, and big promotion of sending students to Canada started. Even
Yeah.
the speed was not, I mean, the number of people who were coming through were not that high. For example, the lowest score in general category ever that went in express entry was 413, 31st of May. Okay, so I'm saying when I'm saying lowest, I don't include the CEC categories or
Correct.
because that's not fair. I'm talking about the general when you take everybody into the picture.
What year was this?
2017, 31st of May 2017. Because you could get 413. What you needed? You needed a bachelor's degree, you needed a 3 years of experience, you needed an English language. If you get CLB 9, perfect. But even with CLB 8, you could pretty much
Oh, yeah.
it's true. But with CLB 9, bachelor's degree, 3 years of experience, even 34, 35, 36 year olds were able to score better than that.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
And proof in the point is that it was much later at 440 when my wife at late 30s was able to get her invitation through. So the it was easier for lots of people out of Canada getting through, and people were quite encouraged by this. Okay, Canada is such a easy walk in the park kind of a PR pathway. And then you had more and more students who were flooding in, and agents were sending them by truckloads. So people who had just completed their grade 12 were just shunted into this country. 2022, 3, 2024, the numbers went through the roof.
Yeah.
So very ridiculous policies were introduced during COVID. I mean, I can understand that it was the type unprecedented times, but people in the power, they brought in all these kind of policies. They did a score of 75 CRS score drop. They brought in TR to PR. PR to PR was such a joke, right? Anybody could become a PR. If you were in Canada, you completed your studies, here you go. They were just like, it was like people were handing them out like candies. Like that was the situation for TR to PR program. And then they did this postgraduate work permit extension once, then they gave postgraduate work permit extension twice. Fair enough. First time I understood, COVID
Mhm.
made sense. A lot
Yeah.
of people were out of jobs, etc. Second extension didn't make sense. What also didn't make sense is for them to reduce the requirement of English language for your students to come to Canada under SDS stream. Why? Why reduce?
Mhm.
Then there was our favorite minister who introduced this policy that that because there was so much of backlogs for the visit visas, he said, okay, that there is a requirement where the applicants have to prove that they will return back to their home country. That is
Yes.
the basis of visit visas. So he asked them to IRCC to overlook that condition. And there were more than about 300, 400,000 visit visa applications in the pipeline, which all got approved. Like, you would not imagine who all got approved.
This is facial, right?
Yes, all of this mess that was created, now you had crazy numbers of people in Canada who are temporary. As of right now, there are more than 4 million people who are temporary residents in Canada.
Yeah.
And if you are in Canada as a temporary resident, then you don't want to go back in most cases. Of course, there is going to be a small percentage who is genuinely here to study. When you had these 4 million people over here, where most of them don't want to go back, do you think anybody outside Canada has a chance when then these guys don't have a chance?